What's up, y'all? So coming into 2020, I want to make this video to share my experience with semen retention with you guys. What it is, what it isn't, the benefits, what you can expect, some realizations that I've had, some insights, some things that I've researched, and just all the good stuff throughout the years of doing semen retention. Now, if you don't know what this practice is, it's basically what the name implies. It just means that you're not releasing all the time. Now, this is something that could be good for women as well, but for the sake of this video, we'll keep it for men, right? Because semen retention is primarily something that men do. You know, women don't have semen, you know, as far as I know of. All right, so basically, you're not releasing. Now, a lot of guys tend to get onto this path from NoFap. You know, just like myself, I first got onto this from NoFap. All right, now, NoFap is basically where, as a dude, you stop releasing, or you stop these compulsive behaviors of releasing so damn much and watching all that nasty shit online. And y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't have to say any details on what it is that you're watching online. But basically, you stop doing this and you start experiencing benefits, right? It's your body going back to its natural state, whether that be neurotransmitter levels or whether you never had an issue to begin with. You were releasing too much, and it was just a bad habit for you to be releasing that much. All right, now semen retention is taking it one step further. All right, now in NoFap, people will usually do this thing called hard mode. All right, now in hard mode, you would basically not release whatsoever. Even if you were with a woman, you wouldn't release whatsoever. Now that's kind of what semen retention is, except that back in the day, it used to be an actual spiritual practice. It used to be a practice for those whose path was that true spirituality, whether it be a monk, whether it be a priest, whether it be someone, I don't know. You get the picture though. Someone who is going down that spiritual path and they want to go further within and seek the truth. They don't care much about the physical and the worldly things. So then they do this practice. They do this practice of semen retention, and it's accompanied by celibacy. All right, meaning that they don't want to be with women, or at least, physically they do, but what they do instead is they do celibacy. They don't interact in that way. They don't procreate. They don't do things of that nature, because all the energy that they're getting from this practice, they are using it for their spiritual practice. They're using it to go deeper within or deeper into their spiritual practice, not going deeper into them sugar walls. So that's something that needs to be understood if you are looking into this whole semen retention thing. Alright, so it was something that they used to do for their spiritual practice. Now, we live in the modern day. We have so many women, and if your life is not being pulled into that way, into that super spiritual path, then there's really no reason for you to do celibacy, unless you want to use it as like a brief period for yourself or for enlightenment or for whatever it is that you're trying to do. Maybe you want to take some time away from women to be able to focus on yourself, to be able to, let's say, build a business or make more money, or let's say work out, or just take care of yourself. Alright? That's when celibacy could be used in today's day and age. If you're not doing that spiritual path, if you're not being pulled into that spiritual path, that's when you can use celibacy. Alright, but in today's day and age, if you're not going to be celibate, semen retention can still be used. Now, there's two sources where, if I remember correctly, It was Taoism and Ayurveda. Now, one originates, I want to say, in Asia. Don't kill me. I'm probably butchering it here. I'm not trying to remember fact for fact, detail for detail. I'm just telling you guys my experience, what I realized, and all that stuff. But you got the Taoism, probably saying that wrong too. You got Ayurveda, that originates in India. But they're two different practices, or two different paths here, right? Both ultimately leading to the same thing, but that's beyond the point here. Now, in Taoism, they're basically saying that as a man, you should practice semen retention. You shouldn't be just releasing all the time, because your body has to recreate semen. Your body has to reproduce it, and if you don't give your body adequate time enough to recover, if you don't give your body what it needs to recover, then it starts pulling from other parts in your body, and it actually supposedly shortens your lifespan. Now, as far as how true that is, I don't know. I can't really say that here. But what I can say is what I found is basically they say that as a man, you have like stages throughout your life, different age groups. Like the under 20 years old, you can basically, I want to say, release every 2 days. Then once you're in your 20s, it's every 4 days. Then once you're in your 30s, I think it's every 6, maybe 7 days. And it just keeps going more and more and more, which makes sense, because I mean, as we get older, our bodies are declining, so it makes sense that our bodies can produce less and less efficiently as they once could when they were at peak levels. Alright? So, as for the ages, I'm gonna pop up a picture here. It should say everything. So with that, that's pretty much the Taoist perspective. Now, when you go into the Ayurvedic perspective, they basically talk about these 3 constitutions, these 3 doshas, and it's basically the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Now, not to go too far into detail with what these are, basically, we're born with all 3, but one of them is dominant within our body, and depending on which one is dominant will depict how our body develops. So if you have a Vata, right, if you're born with the Vata dosha being the most dominant within you, you tend to be more skinny, tend to be leaner, hard for you to put on muscle, hard for you to put on weight, but very easy for you to lose weight. All right, like if you miss a meal, you will literally lose weight, and your body will literally eat away the muscle that it has if you stop working out or if you stop eating enough. If you're born with a Pitta constitution, your body puts on muscle very easily. Your body can lose fat very easily, but you can also put on fat, so you're not invincible. You just have a better standpoint than the Vata per se. Right? And then if you have the Kapha, if you're born with the Kapha dosha as being the dominant one, then you can put on muscle easily, but you also put on fat easily. Right? It's very hard for you to lose weight if Kapha is your dominant dosha. Now, if you put 2 and 2 together, Ayurveda was found out thousands of years ago, but nowadays, I don't know how long it's been since they actually discovered the somatic body types, but the somatic body types is the ecto, endo, and mesomorph. Right? Ectomorph is the skinny, mesomorph is the ones who put on muscle easily. They don't put on fat easily, but they can lose fat easily. And then the endomorph are the ones that have more weight on them, but they tend to be stronger. Now, it's crazy that Ayurveda figured this out thousands of years ago, and science figured it out. Like I said, I don't know. It's been recent, within I can't say years, because if I say so, I'm definitely gonna be butchering that shit. But anyways, putting 2 and 2 together, it just makes sense. Alright, now, not to get into details or arguments or disputes about all this body types and all this shit, what I'm trying to say is that Ayurveda says that depending on which dosha you were born with, that's your dominant dosha, you can release X amount, Right, so if Kapha was the dosha that you were born with, you basically can release more often than someone who was born with a Pitta dosha. And then Pitta dosha can release more often than someone who was born with a Vata dosha. And then the people with the Vata dosha being the people that can release the least amount. It's, hey, I'm a Vata, so it is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm just saying these for reference. Right, so you can kind of understand that these are perspectives of people who've known about semen retention. They've been practicing semen retention for years, for thousands of years. This isn't something new. I'm not bringing anything new to the table. I'm just sharing my experience, my findings here, my insights, realizations, all this good stuff. But now that we got all that out the way, the biggest thing that comes from semen retention is not you. It's energy. And it's not just this simple energy like, oh, you drink some coffee and you're good. It's not that kind of energy. It's sexual energy, and sexual energy is by far the strongest energy in this world. Now, I want you to think back to a time where you got aroused. All right? Now think about that, and think about how much energy you had at that moment. You could have been extremely tired, but the moment you got aroused, it's like that tired feeling that you had completely went away. You could have been sad about something, but the moment you got aroused, that went away. You could have been overthinking something. The moment you got aroused, it's like that all went away because of how strong sexual energy actually is. But the thing is, when we get aroused, what we usually do is we release this energy. And by releasing the energy, we're doing what's naturally intended, because that sexual energy is supposed to be used for procreation. But if you can use this, instead of releasing it, you direct it to whatever it is that you want, you can have any benefit that you want. So people say, oh, I'm more confident, I have less anxiety and stuff because of semen retention. That's because they're directing their energy to do this. Semen retention allows you to go deeper into whatever it is that you are directing that energy towards. So instead of going deeper into the sugar walls, you're going deeper into whatever it is that you're putting into. Like, let's say you're an athlete. If you direct this sexual energy, your performance will be enhanced. Let's say you're trying to make a business. Your ability to do this will be enhanced. Let's say you're writing a book, that will be enhanced. Anything that you are doing in this life, let's say you're socializing, you're talking with people, let's say you're practicing a hobby, whatever it is that you direct this energy to, you will notice that you will have more energy to draw from. And the thing is, energy is limited, y'all. We wake up, and then the moment we wake up, even sleeping, we're using energy. But the moment we wake up, we start using more energy. We read something, we're using energy. We sit down thinking about something, we're using energy. We're talking to someone, we're using energy. Everything that we do, we're using energy. All right, so at the end of the day, you have a very limited source. But when you practice semen retention, when you're not releasing your sexual energy all the time, you have a hell of a lot more energy. And I'm telling you, when you have more energy, the benefits are endless. You can have whatever benefits you want. If you want more physical mass, like if you want to be like a bodybuilder or just have more muscle on your body, you can direct this energy to increase your ability to do so. If you want to be better at socializing, have more confidence, have less anxiety, be less stuck in your head, you can use this energy in order to do so. But here's the drawback. You have all of this energy, so you have to use it. You can't just be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this semen retention practice, but I'm not gonna do anything. I don't wanna direct my energy anywhere. If you do this, if you decide not to use that energy, it's going to consume you, and you are going to go into a compulsive rhythm, whether that be overthinking, whether that be going online, watching this nasty shit obsessively, whether that be releasing obsessively, whether that be, I already said overthinking, but nervous tics, like maybe you're pulling your shirt, maybe you're over here twisting your fingers, or you're playing with something, you're fidgeting with something, right? If you don't use the energy is gonna use you. Alright, so whether you practice semen retention or not, understand that concept that if you're not using the energy, it's gonna use you. Alright, so with all that being said, I want to share my experience before I end this video off. So if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know that I started with NoFap. If you haven't watched, then I did. This is how I started. I had a really bad issue watching that nasty shit, releasing way too much, and I used to get sick all the time. Used to have so much anxiety, used to be depressed, used to have so much issues until I found NoFap. And once I found NoFap, you know, it was a while before I finally got the hang of it and I stopped being so compulsive. But after doing NoFap for a while, I realized, okay, there's more to this, because the only way that I became successful on NoFap was by doing this thing called hard mode. Now, hard mode, I spoke about it earlier, it's basically almost celibacy, right? So started doing celibacy to an extent, right? To an extent, because I was with women at the time, so I would just try my best not to release, right? And doing this, I was starting to notice the effects of semen retention, because there were some days where I would direct this energy and I would use it, and I would experience the benefits of using this energy. And then there were other days where I didn't use the energy and I would experience the drawbacks of the excess energy, of too much energy. You know, like I said, it consumes you if you don't use it. And I had no idea. I was unconscious over the fact of, okay, if you use the energy, you're good. If you don't use it, then it consumes you, right? But then after a few years, I started realizing this, and it primarily happened when me and my fiance had split. You know, we split roughly over a year ago, and once we split, I just made the decision to remain celibate for a period of time, because I wanted to focus on me. I wanted to, I guess, recover, heal from all of the shit that I was experiencing. And I just knew that going off with other chicks and releasing and doing all this stuff, it just wasn't gonna help in the moment. So got on the celibacy, and that's why I started like really becoming aware. So I've been doing it without realizing it for years, but in the past year is when I really became aware of what semen retention is actually doing. Right now, this is not an end-all, be-all thing. Right? It's just a tool. It's a practice that you include in your life that gives you an edge in whatever it is that you're doing. But it could also destroy your life if you're not using it properly. So understand that with semen retention, you have an excess of energy, sexual energy, and it needs to be used. If you don't use this energy, this shit is gonna use you. So with that being said, that's all I have for you guys. That's semen retention in a nutshell, or at least that's what I know of semen retention over the past few years of doing this. I hope it helped you in one way, shape, or form. If you liked the video, you want to go even deeper, you want to support the channel at the same time, consider becoming a patron. With this being said, remember y'all that the time is now.